Imagine waking up beside $10 million, only to open your eyes a few hours later and discover that the money and the one person you trusted most have both vanished. That's the nightmare at the heart of Apple TV Plus. Lucky, and believe me, that's only where the story begins. This isn't just another crime thriller about a woman on the run. It's a twisted game of lies, betrayal, survival, and manipulation, where every character is hiding something, and the biggest mystery isn't where the money went, but who can actually be trusted. So grab a seat, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why Lucky isn't just running from the FBI. She's running towards something far more dangerous. Before we get into it, this isn't going to be one of those recaps that just lists what happened in order. We're going deeper. We're looking at why every character does what they do, which lies actually matter, and which obvious betrayal might not be what it looks like. So settle in, because this show moves fast, and if you blink, you'll miss the moment that changes everything. Who is Lucky, really? Her name is Luciana Armstrong. Everyone calls her Lucky. And if you know anything about irony, you already sense that nickname is doing some heavy lifting. She's a con artist, not the flashy, cartoonish kind, but the kind who reads a room in 3 seconds and tells you exactly what you need to hear to trust her. The show opens mid-collapse. She's already running. FBI agents are closing in on a parking structure crowded with delivery trucks, and she's cornered before we even know her name. That's a deliberate choice by the writers. They don't want you to meet a woman and then watch her fall apart. They want you to meet the fall and then rewind to understand how she got there. So we rewind 12 hours. Las Vegas. A hotel suite. Suitcases stacked with stolen cash. And sitting across from her is her husband, Cary. Golden, charming, the kind of guy who makes disappearing with $10 million sound like a honeymoon. They drink. They gamble. They talk about the life they're about to start, somewhere far away from anyone who knows their names. And Luciana isn't fully sold. There's hesitation in her, a flicker of doubt about the money, about the plan, about Cary himself. He tells her to stop overthinking it. Enjoy the win. And that's the last calm moment either of them gets. The morning after, a husband and a fortune, both missing. She wakes up, Cary's gone, every suitcase is gone, and she can't fully remember the night before, which tells us, without anyone saying it out loud, that she was drugged. Here's where the show plants its first real mystery, and it's smarter than it looks. The easy read is, Cary robbed her. Simple betrayal, roll credits, but the series keeps that door only half closed. Maybe he ran because someone forced him to. Maybe he's executing a plan she was never told about. Maybe someone else got to him first. The writers give us just enough ambiguity that Cary is the villain never fully locks into place, and that's going to matter a lot later. What Luciana does next tells you everything about her survival instincts. She doesn't cry. She doesn't call for help. She calculates. Because outside that hotel, federal agents are already sweeping the property, and news reports are naming her and Cary as the faces behind a mob-linked fraud scheme worth over $200 million, with $10 million of it still unaccounted for. That's the number everyone's chasing. That's the reason nobody's going to leave her alone. The escape artist at work. This is where Lucky shows you her actual skill set. And it's not lockpicking or hacking security cameras. It's emotional manipulation, delivered with total conviction. She slips past federal agents and a mob enforcer named Dutch by faking an injury and telling a truck driver she's escaping an abusive boyfriend. He believes her, or claims to, and drives her out. Later, he even admits he didn't buy the story for a second. He helped her anyway. That detail matters. It's not really about whether people believe her lies. It's about her instinctively finding the emotional key that unlocks compassion in strangers, whether or not they buy the details. That's her real weapon. And the show is careful not to frame this as a clever girl boss trick. Every escape she pulls off costs someone else something. Money, trust, safety. The series wants you rooting for her while quietly reminding you that her survival has a body count of good intentions. The father in prison who started it all. Now here's the piece that reframes the entire heist. This was never really about Luciana and Cary. It goes back to her father, John, currently in prison, who spent years quietly skimming money from a biodiesel fraud operation connected to a mob boss named Priscilla. Small amounts, over a long stretch of time, until it added up to a fortune large enough to get people killed over. When John learned Priscilla was about to be released from prison, he panicked and asked his daughter to move the stolen reserve before she could find it. Luciana resisted at first. This is the one moment we see her hesitate on moral grounds, but eventually she agreed and brought Cary in to help execute it. So those suitcases in Vegas? That's not a couple living large off their own con. That's a decades-old theft finally coming due, and Luciana inherited the debt the moment she said yes to her father. When she calls John afterward using coded language to tell him Cary vanished with the cash, his response isn't panic. It's almost a training exercise. Rely on what I taught you. Ditch the phone. Survive. It's a chilling little scene because it reveals that for this family, deception isn't a crime. It's inherited knowledge, passed down like a family recipe. Priscilla, the threat worse than the FBI. Here's the detail that reframes the entire chase. Getting caught by the FBI is not the worst-case scenario. Being caught by Priscilla is. The Bureau wants Luciana alive for evidence and testimony. Priscilla's people want the money back, and once they have it, his team nearly catches her near a roadside stop, but Priscilla's crew literally runs the arresting officer off the road first and drags Luciana into a car for interrogation. And this is where Annette Benning's Priscilla makes her presence known. She wants to know where Cary is. She wants her money. And because Cary is both her son and Luciana's missing husband, every question carries a second personal edge. Luciana insists Cary took the cash and ran. Priscilla assumes she's covering for him. And just when it looks like Luciana's out of options, she turns the tables, causing a crash, escaping the burning wreck, while her captors are still trapped inside. It's an outrageous escape, frankly almost too outrageous, but it works because the show sells her exhaustion. She's not indestructible. She's just more desperate than everyone chasing her. Sylvia. Kindness as Collateral Damage Episode 2 slows everything down, and that's intentional. After the sprint of Episode 1, we need to see what Luciana does when she's not running. She staggers through the desert and finds a home belonging to Sylvia and her 2 granddaughters. Same trick as before. She claims to be fleeing an abusive partner, but this time the lie lands somewhere much deeper. Sylvia lost her own daughter to years of abuse, so Luciana's story doesn't just earn sympathy. It reopens a wound. Sylvia patches her up, feeds her, promises protection, and when Sylvia offers to call the police, Luciana adds one more detail. Her attacker is a cop. That single lie poisons the well completely. Now, anyone who comes looking for her will be treated as the enemy. What makes this section genuinely uncomfortable is that Luciana isn't faking her enjoyment of this family's warmth. She likes being cared for. She likes the girls. It's real. And she's still using a grieving woman's trauma as a shield. The show doesn't let you off the hook for liking her here. The investigator playing the long game agent Billy Rand isn't just chasing Luciana for the sake of an arrest. She's built a theory connecting all 4 players: John's original theft, Luciana moving the money, Cary's disappearance with it, and Priscilla's desperate hunt to recover it before her freedom runs out. Her real target isn't Luciana at all. It's a man named Whitaker, the one actually controlling the entire fraud operation from above. Priscilla is just a means to get there. Meanwhile, Priscilla meets with Whitaker directly, and we learn the real power structure. She used to launder his money, delegated part of it to John when the volume got too big to manage alone, which is exactly how he was able to steal from her undetected. Whitaker arranged her release specifically so she'd track down what's missing. Her freedom is conditional on results. When she asks for more time, he humiliates her on the spot and promises to kill both Cary and Luciana once the cash surfaces.